with Tom Hart.
Chip, thank you. Happy opening day, everybody. Freddie, only 3 regulars returned to your lineup from last year's opening day lineup. What did you learn about your team in spring training?
They're really good. I really enjoyed them playing the game. These guys are winners. I really like the athleticism, not only the home run that they can power, they can show, but I like the way they can run the bases too and cover some balls in the outfield and play defense.
Everybody expects a winner here in Atlanta, but the expectations this year seem to be through the roof. What would it take to fulfill those expectations?
Just stay healthy. I think we stay healthy. I think we got a good chance of winning our division.
You had some decisions when it came to your opening day starter. You go with the veteran Tim Hudson. How'd you come to that decision?
You know what? Last year it was Medlin was hot for us, and he pitched that first game in the postseason, and Huddy could have done that. And this year we gave him the nod for our home opener.
Freddie, thank you so much. Can't wait.
Thank you.
All right, Chip. Freddie Gonzalez and these Braves itching to go as they have been all day long.
And they will be facing a Philadelphia Phillies ball club that under Charlie Manuel looking for some redemption in this 2013 season. Their Toyota starting lineup has a new look at the top. It's not Jimmy Rollins leading off Joe anymore. It's newcomer Ben Revere, who came over from the Minnesota Twins.
That's a real sore spot for the Philadelphia Phillies and has been the last couple of years. They've moved Rollins into the leadoff spot and out. Victorino has been in there, but he's batting leadoff tonight because Charlie Manuel said he wanted to split up his lefty-righty at hitters so the Braves couldn't match up better with their bullpen.
And you've got Tim Hudson making his 3rd opening day start tonight for the Braves.
Yeah, last year's number. Keep in mind he was 16-7 and didn't get his first start until April 29th as he recovered from back surgery. So he had himself quite a year. 3rd straight year he had won 16 games and has done a great job since he came back from Tommy John surgery. He's gone 51-27 after TJ's surgery. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight, well, has to do with his first inning clean slate. Last year, the first inning, the highest ERA he suffered in any other inning. It was over 6. And Ryan Howard, how's he going to pitch to him? Ryan Howard has been a Hudson killer over the last couple of years and a .338 career batting average against him. And there are those first inning numbers that were really hard on Tim's ERA last year. 22 runs allowed in the first inning in 28 starts.
Umpiring crew is assigned by Major League Baseball tonight. Tim Welke will have the plate. Mike Everett, Marty Foster, and Scott Berry will ring the bases. And so we're ready to go. Tim Hudson versus Ben Revere in the start of the 2013 season. And ball 1 to Ben Revere. Revere made the opening day roster for the Twins for the first time in his career last year and hit .294 in 124 games. Scored 70 runs, stole 40 bases. Good young player, just 24 years of age. And Hudson tied him up.
Tim had a little bit of a rough time in about the middle part of spring training, but then started working on things he would use in games in the regular season, and his numbers were really good his last 2 or 3 starts.
There you go.
Fastball, slider, cutter, changeup. That looked like a cutter biting down and in on his back knee.
And down and in for a full count.
He doesn't have any power to speak of, but he can run. 40 swipes last year for the Twins.
And a little number. Chris Johnson at third. Funny hop. Throws on the run and got him by a half step.
And why shouldn't the first play be made by a guy who's taken over for the future Hall of Famer? Chipper threw out the first pitch. Chris Johnson throws out the first runner.
And here's how the Braves line up defensively. The Upton, Hayward outfield. Johnson and Simmons on the left side. Ugla and Freeman on the right side. Gerald Laird gets the start behind the plate. And here is Jimmy Rollins. Rollins a solid spring, hit .270 for the Phillies.
As well as Ryan Howard has hit Hudson in his career, Rollins and Utley not so much. Rollins a career .218 mark, Utley .210.
Rollins 17 for 78 head-to-head versus Tim Hudson. And now finds himself behind 1 ball, 2 strikes. In the air to center, first chance for B.J. Upton. He handles it cleanly, 2 out. As Joe said a few moments ago, you could not have picked a better night for weather here in Atlanta. It's gorgeous.
And how often do you see on April 1st a pitcher pitching without any long sleeves because it's so comfortable? That's the case for Tim Hudson. We'll check out Hamels in a second, but look at everybody and how they're dressed. It's just a beautiful night.
So bases empty, 2 outs, and Chase Utley is coming to the plate. Utley, I would imagine, Joe, answered a lot of questions for the Phillies this spring. Didn't have a high average, but hit 5 home runs and drove in 17 in 71 at bats.
Yeah, after missing the first 2 months last year. I mean, they didn't have Utley or Howard in the lineup early last year.
And not surprisingly for the Phillies, when they got those guys back, got their pitching in order in the second half of the season, the Phillies were a much, much better team.
But your point's a good one. Without his legs under him, and he had some bad knees last year and the year before. Seems 100% now.
Little roller to first. Freeman's got it at the bag, and Tim Hudson has no first inning trouble tonight. His opening day off to a 1-2-3 start. The Braves face Cole Hamels when we return. This is it, fellas, to see just 2 left-handed bats in this lineup with Cole Hamels on the mound for the Philadelphia Phillies. What a dramatic difference from last year to this for this Braves batting order.
Should make a difference for Atlanta, despite the fact that they've had some pretty good luck against Hamels in this ballpark over the last 2 or 3 years. But Hamels out there for his first ever opening day assignment. Those are his numbers from last year. That was a career high in wins, also a career high in strikeouts. 3rd in the league in strikeouts with 216. Lifetime 12-7 against Atlanta. His 4 keys to success, well, he's got to get past his opening day jitters, and then he's got some decisions to make. Dan Uggla has hit 145 against him in his career. Will he pitch to BJ or Uggla?
And his first pitch of the season is a little low to leadoff man Andrelton Simmons.
Of course, that would be in a tough RBI situation. He might pitch around BJ Upton.
New role for Andrelton this year, not batting 8th for the Braves, but batting in the number 1 slot for Freddie Gonzalez this year. Of course, he led off in the World Baseball Classic for the Netherlands and won a batting title in the minor leagues leading off.
Very comfortable there. He said he has no problems with it. He's done it before and hit .333 for the Netherlands in the World Baseball Classic.
Pop fly foul back our way, and the count now 2-2.
Hamels is not a whole lot unlike Tim Hudson, other than the fact, obviously, that he's left-handed. He throws a little harder than Tim, but he's a fastball, cutter, curveball pitcher with an outstanding changeup. They both have good changes. 92 to 94 on his best fastball, though.
I'm surprised at the career he's had, that this is his first opening day start. Kind of interesting.
A little roller foul. He was supposed to start opening day in 2009, but was hurt.
Yeah, he had a little elbow inflammation, so they backed him off a few days, but he was scheduled to be the guy after they'd won the world title.
Boy, did Hamels have a great spring for the Phillies. 3-0 record, 0.95 ERA, allowed just 2 earned runs in 19 innings down in Florida. Simmons pops it up toward Michael Young, the new Phillies third baseman, and he'll put the squeeze on that for out number 1. New look for the Phillies defensively. Let's start with the outfield. Dominic Brown, Ben Revere, and John Mayberry from left to right. And then you've got Michael Young, who played virtually every infield position while with the Texas Rangers. Utley and Howard are back, a year back from injury. And Eric Kratz starting because of a suspension behind the plate for the Phillies, Joe.
Carlos Ruiz is going to miss 25 games for being tested positive for Adderall, which is a banned substance in the major leagues.
Cole Hamels misses inside to Jason Hayward, his first at bat of the campaign.
It's funny how people rise up to big occasions, but we've seen it happen before, certainly with Jason in his first big league at bat, another first at bat against Washington. Jordan Schaefer hit a homer his first game against the Phillies. I got a feeling something good's going to happen tonight with the Uptons making their debut for Atlanta too.
Jason rips one down the right field line and pulled it foul. He just missed a double. And the count, 2 balls and a strike. I think to a man too, Joe, the Braves have talked about the difference in Jason Hayward now. As a confident young man, that's never been a problem, but there's an aura about him this season that they haven't seen from Jason before. Whether that's a sign of maturity or leadership, whatever you want to call it, he certainly feels like he belongs here.
How about the guy who was leading the team on the field tonight when they came through the center field wall?
Yeah, I noticed that too, Joe.
Nothing shy about that.
And interestingly, too, Jason Hayward's locker now is in the spot once occupied by Chipper Jones.
And once occupied by John Smoltz, among others.
A one-out walk for Hayward.
The team came onto the field through center field, and the guy leading the pack, Jason Hayward.
Well, I got the question a lot this year. Who's going to replace Chipper Jones? Everybody's getting that question about who's going to be the leader. And there's guys with a lot more seniority than Jason Hayward, but he's one of the first guys I thought of. It's just it seems like he's been here longer. And I agree. There's something different about him. He feels more comfortable. And I think he's going to be willing to say a few things that need to be said.
First at bat is a Brave for Justin Upton, who was given a huge ovation during pregame introductions. And listen to the crowd tonight. After essentially being told he was no longer wanted in Arizona, how great must Upton feel to get this kind of reception in Atlanta tonight?
He told me in spring training he was thrilled to be in an Atlanta uniform, and just a carryover of that here tonight.
Oh, what a cut. And Justin behind 0-2.
I mean, the way these guys took batting practice, when that group of Hayward, Upton, Gaddis, Freeman, I mean, it reminded you of days like when Murphy and Horner and Glenn Hubbard would start launching them.
Kind of. These guys go a lot longer.
Almost missed the inside corner, a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, I was in Orlando for Justin's first one that went over the flags in the berm, but he hit one further than that. I saw on a replay over the clock of the scoreboard. I mean,
yeah, we were there for that one.
Some long home runs.
6 in total down in Orlando. Now he's even the count, 2 balls, 2 strikes, and here are our Ram Trucks power stats, spring training homers.
Braves were trailing the Cubs until the last week of spring training and passed them with a real barrage.
Across the shoe tops, so from 0-2 to 3-2 now.
Last thing Justin Upton wants to deal with is some kind of first or second game injury after hurting his thumb in the first week of last season. It caused him to miss some games, and really hurt him all year long. Just had to deal with it.
Will Hayward be running with a full count? Big lead. He's not, and Upton swings and misses, 2 out.
That's what makes Cole Hamels so tough. He can kind of move the ball around and look like he's wild, and then all of a sudden he comes back with an off-speed pitch that is just brilliant on a 3-2 count.
Yeah, absolutely, Joe. I've always said that the best pitch is a moving fastball with good velocity where the pitcher wants to throw it. But I'd have to say that's probably 1A, but 1B is a changeup 3-2.
Yeah. With
guys on base. If a pitcher can do that, I mean, I always think about Greg Maddux, one of the best, Tom Glavine. When you can do that, that's trouble.
First pitch to Freddie Freeman, not surprisingly, he's hacking away. Strike 1.
He had a good spring at 342 in the spring with 7 homers. Tied for the league in the home run lead in Florida.
One thing about Freeman last year that was so amazing, almost half of his RBIs came with 2 outs. And here he is, albeit with Hayward at first, a chance to do some damage in the Braves first against Hamels.
Well, he was not happy at all with his batting average last year. He had 259. Says, I'm not a 260 hitter. I'm a better average hitter than that. So he's motivated to move that number, not up a few points, but a lot of points.
Long inning for Hamels. That was his 20th pitch.
Well, you mentioned his good spring training, Chip, and that was just an extension of his last 10 starts last year. He went 6-0, 2 complete game shutouts mixed in there. Outstanding work for the Phillies late in the year.
High fly ball, belted deep right, at the track, at the wall, 2-0 Atlanta. Comebacker off the bat of B.J. Upton, and that'll retire the side. The Braves have thunder up and down their lineup, and it's Freddie Freeman on the board first in 2013. A 2-out, 2-run homer off Cole Hamels gives Tim Hudson an early first inning lead.
Well, it doesn't get much better than that, does it?
Gotta love it.
I love the way, he came out hacking. He laid off a couple tough sliders. The one up and in, he didn't even flinch, didn't even move him off the plate.
Second career homer off of Hamels, who only gave up 4 home runs to lefties last year out of his 24 he allowed.
Wow. So a good start for Freddie Freeman. That brings Turner Field villain Ryan Howard to the plate. And the shift is on, and he grounds right to Dan Uggla.
Well, that's a good sign, because I asked him tonight before the ball game, I said, okay, Ryan Howard, why is he just tearing you up? And Tim said, I've got an easy answer. He said, I think David Ross was telling him what was coming.
Yeah.
I said, well, I don't know if he did or not, but it certainly appeared that way. But Tim was talking about Howard. He said, his strengths are my strengths. I pitch down and in, and that's where Howard's strengths are.
Well, he rolled over easily for the first out of the inning. Now Michael Young, the hitter. Joe, you've seen Michael Young play with Texas. A lot of pop, a lot of hits, and a lot of production for the Phillies at a spot that's been sorely lacking for them the last couple of years.
He brings something else, too, and I remember Chipper talking about this when he played with Young in the World Baseball Classic about 4 years ago, and that is he is a hard-nosed, gritty type player, and that'll bring a lot to this lineup, too. Charlie Manuel loves him.
Here's an amazing statistic about the Phillies last year. Their third baseman in that ballpark hit a combined 5 home runs all year. Michael Young might have that by May 1st.
His numbers have declined over the last couple of 3 years, but a lot of that, 338 average, that's not too bad in 2011, but a lot of that was like what you were talking about, Chip, and that is bouncing around position to position, not playing in a consistent way for the Rangers because of some young players that came along. But he's going to be a solid addition to their lineup, even at age 36.
And he's the first Phillies base runner of the night. And that brings Dominic Brown to the plate. He's on an opening day roster for the first time for the Phillies.
I admired him. Speaking of Michael Young, when the Rangers came to him and said, "Hey, we're actually going to move you around." A lot of guys with his stature would say, "I'm not ready for that," but he was willing to do it, willing to try it. I think, as you mentioned, Chipper's experience with him in the World Baseball Classic. He's a hard-nosed team guy. Fit in well with this organization.
The development of Ian Kinsler. They signed Adrian Beltre. They had Andrews at short. There just wasn't a lot of games other than DHing. He was even playing some first base for the Rangers just to get in the lineup.
Brown bounces one to the screen. He's behind 0-2. He had a great spring. Question for Brown, can he stay healthy? He's had injury problems all the way through his minor league career and was hurt again for the Phillies last season. Had a right knee sprain last year, broke the hamate bone in 2011, broke a finger in 2009. He's the man playing left field for him in 2013.
Think about it. The opening is there too. Jason Worth is now gone for the second year. Victorino's gone. That's a big place for him to fill and get some everyday playing time. And like you said, if he can just stay healthy, it looks like he's ready to put up some numbers and make himself a fixture in their lineup.
Young, a good lead. And Tim misses up and away, a ball and 2 strikes.
And Joe, to add to that opportunity that he has, Delman Young, is that
yes.
He's also hurt
right.
and out, so he's got an opportunity. I think I was talking to some of the Phillies guys. When Delman Young comes back, he's going in there somewhere, probably right, but this is an opportunity for him to do something.
Base hit to right. Young will stop at second. 2 on, 1 out for John Mayberry Jr. Nice work by Brown to battle back from a 2-strike count. And here is Mayberry. Big swing and a miss. Talked about how improved the Phillies were in the second half of the season. Let's not forget, as Joe mentioned, they traded Shane Victorino. They also traded Hunter Pence. This guy was one of the recipients of a lot of playing time as a result of those deals.
Yeah, Victorino's gone, Pence is gone, Polanco's gone. Different looking team, especially in the outfield.
Double play ball. Simmons glides across the bag, inning over. Great start for Tim Hudson. 2-0 behind a Freddie Freeman 2-out, 2-run homer off Cole Hamels in the opening inning.
Nothing like getting off to a good start, is there, Murph?
Well, you know, opening night, I was just kind of hoping to get at least a hit, maybe something that felt pretty good. You got so many jitters, but to go deep like that, you're on top of the world.
And here's a guy I'd like to get off to a good start. Heads up back there, boys.
Little jitters for Hamels here early. Not as sharp as perhaps he was this spring.
He's been wild high so far. His fastball.
3-0 for Dan Ugla, who led the league in walks last year. He'll try to set the table for our Delta Airlines on deck batter, Chris Johnson, who had a great spring. High fly ball deep left. That one's got a chance. Dan Ugla is off to a hot start. 3-0.
Work in the last part of spring training has begun to show some results, and you can give a little bit of an assist there to the manager, helping to give him a chance to get off to that good start, letting him hack away 3-0.
2 homers for the Braves in the first 2 innings tonight.
Well, Greg Walker, as you said that last week in spring training, Greg Walker said it's a completely different hitter. I noticed in BP again today going a little bit the other way, and Joe, that's really good. He hit the 3-0 first at bat of the year. Sometimes you just want to keep taking and see, especially off of Cole Hamels. But good aggressive at bat right there.
Dan's first homer last year came in his 12th game. That was April 18th. He hit 19 in total.
It's been a struggle for him. Last year, I mean, he would have some spurts where he would have a good week or so, but he never was able to get on any kind of consistent hot streak because of some mechanical issues he was trying to iron out. But that wasn't a 3-0. I'm going to just take this one, serve this one to right field, was it?
No, that was a moonshot into the wind. Made a straightaway left field. And Johnson's down on strikes, first out of this second inning.
And that was another high fastball. No doubter. First 3 guys off the bench, too, with those outfielders.
Here's Gerald Laird. Braves feel very comfortable, fellas, with the way their catching core lines up, with Brian McCann still out for probably another month or so. Laird had a calf problem in spring training that sidelined him. But one man's misfortune is another man's opportunity, and Evan Gattis was really the talk of Florida spring training.
Evan Gattis making this club, I think, is a real story. Another great storyline for this team to begin the year. Gerald Laird is no slouch. You saw his numbers. He really did a great job for the Tigers last year after Avila got hurt. They depended on him down the stretch. He got some big hits in the postseason. And hit .282 overall.
Pop fly foul off Laird's bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Well, maybe he's the Braves' good luck charm. He's played in the last 2 World Series. One with the Cardinals, one with the Tigers. Maybe 2013 will be in the offing with the Braves.
And he's almost Freddie Gonzalez Jr. in that when I saw him in spring training with his gear on, I thought, wow, the manager got behind the plate and he's catching pitchers. And then realized, no, that's not Freddie, that's Gerald.
Little pop, shallow right field. That's going to carry out. Mayberry's under it. And there's the second out with Tim Hudson coming up. Standing room only crowd here tonight in Atlanta. And we hope you'll join the fun with us at Turner Field. You'll get 33% off your concessions when you buy a 2013 Braves season ticket package. Those prorated packages are available starting at 18 games for $170 a seat. Visit Braves.com/season tickets or call 404-577-9100.
had 12 hits last year, 3 doubles, 6 RBIs, 218 average for 2012.
Now faces a 1-2 count from Cole Hamels. And that'll retire the side. High heat takes care of Tim Hudson. Fast starts for Freddie Freeman and Dan Uggla. Freeman homered in the first. Dan Uggla with a moonshot here in the second. Both off Cole Hamels, the Phillies starter. And Tim Hudson leads 3-0 after 2. I imagine that's what the rest of the National League will think the Braves outfield will be carrying all year.
Yeah.
The up, and a hay trio, as they've been called. Here's Eric Kratz. Off his thumbs and a pop toward Chris Johnson, who couldn't corral it in front of the Phillies bench. Strike 1.
Right in front of the railing. Almost came up with it. Good effort.
So new life for Eric Kratz. This guy didn't play a lot against the Braves, but Joe, when he did, he had some big hits.
8 for 24, a .333 average against Atlanta last year, including a home run off Craig Kimbrell.
No balls, 2 strikes. So that begs the question on this first sequence. Wonder if an old, really old third baseman would have made that catch in front of the Phillies dugout. He's standing by with Tom Hart.
All right, Chip, thanks. Well, he was rooting for Chris Johnson to come up with that play. A couple of Florida guys played for his dad at Stetson. Chipper Jones, this is kind of weird, isn't it?
It's really weird. Obviously, you know, watching a ball game from up here, it's just a lot different. You're used to being down there in the middle of things, and now you're. I'll tell you what doesn't change, though, when you hear the crack of a home run, you know, and both of those balls, the second they were hit, I knew they were touched pretty good.
What does it look like from up here when you see guys playing defense behind Tim Hudson?
It's like everything is in sync. It looks like to me, all the guys. He keeps you in the game. Number one, he's going to throw strikes. He's going to be down in the strike zone and keep the infielders on their toes. And it's no wonder we probably play some of our best defense behind him.
This was kind of an odd day for you overall. What were your feelings when you walked in the clubhouse late this afternoon?
It was like I was home. You know, I mean, it's been my home for 20 years, and didn't feel any different walking in. What felt different is the fact that I don't have a seat, you know, anymore. I don't have a locker, you know, and I feel like I'm a visitor, you know, and it's a little different. Coming down here today was probably the toughest day I've had in retirement thus far, but tomorrow I'll be right back to normal, I guarantee you.
He's already gotten invitations for turkey hunting tomorrow, guys, so we'll see how that turns out. Jason Hayward, by the way, takes over your locker, and the question about this offense is not how many home runs they're going to hit or how many strikeouts they're going to have. It's who's going to lead this team. Do you think that locker is symbolic to what Jason Hayward can do as a leader?
Well, I don't think there's any doubt. I think, you know, he's a big man in stature. He commands respect. You know, his parents brought him up right. He's a good kid. He's been brought up right, and we, you know, obviously people like BMAC and Huddy, they have more tenure than he does, but I don't think anybody's looked up to quite as much as Jason, and he'll grow into that position on the team. He'll grow into that locker, and he'll be just fine. He's going to have some help along the way. He's got a lot of good players that are around the same age he is, and they're all going to grow together.
Walk us through that first pitch of yours.
Well, you know, the first thing you want to do is try and acknowledge everybody, and I was, you know, nervous. Once I looked down at B-Mac, it was difficult for me because I saw a bunch of people with cameras back there on the backside. I was afraid I was going to hit one. But that's when you just kind of revert back to the same old thing, you know, just hit him in the chest, and luckily it didn't bounce. Ben Revere, the base hit to left field, 1 on and 2 out for the Phillies. This is unique for you in many ways. When was the last time you had an adult beverage before the third inning?
Well,
I was commenting to somebody today. I've never had a beer at a ball game, never, and so tonight's my first.
After tonight, what do you expect of these Atlanta Braves over the course of the season?
I expect them to gain momentum. I expect them to gel together as a ball club. I expect them to get better. There's some questions. There's some holes, but I think they're gonna do, enough of what it takes, both on the starting pitching to get the ball to the end of the bullpen. And this lineup's going to cure a lot of ills because they're going to score a lot of runs.
And we've seen that already here tonight. Chipper, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, we know who to go to for tickets, guys. He's got a suite all to himself. I guess he deserves it, Chip.
I'd say.
He told me the same thing earlier tonight in the dugout. He said, I always loved opening day because it was so exciting, and I really would like to play tonight. But tomorrow, I'd wake up and go, oh, no. I got 161 more.
Well, it's great to see him at the ballpark. As Hudson ahead of Jimmy Rollins with 2 strikes. And that's ripped foul.
Well, one thing that Chipper said I thought was really interesting. When you retire and you come back, you do feel a little funny. I thought it was interesting. He said, when I got here, it felt like home. I felt really funny leaving. It felt like a visitor. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people say, why don't we see more of the guys that retired? It's a funny feeling to come back and not feel like you're part of the team anymore. You don't want to feel like a visitor.
Way upstairs, Laird's throw to second will short hop. And Ben Revere has his first stolen base as a Philly.
You almost feel like you're intruding a little bit.
Yeah, and for all those years, you were part of something really special, and now you have to leave that locker room before game time. That's a very humbling feeling. It takes a while to adjust. I told him, I said, hey, that first year, this first year is going to be a little rough for you. I think it'll be easier for him. He's got a lot of things going on, but I kind of struggled at the end, and I thought maybe I have a little bit left in the tank my first year, and it was a tough adjustment.
RBI chance here for Jimmy Rollins with his Phillies down 3-0. Ben Revere at second, 2 outs. Rollins fly to center, his first and only time up.
But I think Chipper got a great compliment on how he ended his career. I think he said he got about 5 clubs contacting him to see if he wanted to keep playing. When I retired, I didn't get any phone calls.
Yeah, he said he even got a call from Ruben Amaro with the Phillies.
That would have been interesting.
He said he told.
What a play by Simmons to save a throwing error. They almost took care of Ben Revere, and he may have gotten hit with a baseball.
As many good plays as Andrelton Simmons has made, this is one of the best plays I've seen him make. Look at that. And then he tried to deke him like it went to the outfield.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how the helmet came off. Oh, he hit Andrelton with his head.
That may not make his highlight reel, but that's a heck of a play to keep that ball from going past him.
Even when Ruben Amaro did call Chipper, he said, Ruben, he said, if I were to sign with the Phillies, they wouldn't be hanging my number up during the year. They'd be hanging me from the upper deck.
Bouncing ball to second. A lot of top spin. Uggla stayed with it. Tim Hudson's getting the ball on the ground, and he's gotten this game to the bottom of the 3rd inning with a 3-run lead. Good pitching from Hudson. Good pitching from Chipper Jones to throw out the first pitch tonight, too.
Nice start for a team that's supposed to strike out a lot and hit a lot of homers. Well, they've struck out 3 times and hit 2 homers in the first 2 innings, but they've got the lead.
And the top of the order now, Andrelton Simmons. Andrelton popped out in his first at bat of the season. There are some who are already saying that Andrelton Simmons is the best shortstop in Major League Baseball right now.
Not going to get an argument from me.
We've seen what he can do defensively. Last year, only a handful of games before he broke his hand playing against the Phillies last year. But even then, Joe, for a guy who is perceived to be a glove-first player, he more than held his own with the bat.
I think that surprised everybody, given that he had only played a full season of A-ball to win his batting title and had not even put in a half season in Double-A.
Put a charge into that ball and drills it to left. Misplay by Brown. It's off the fence. Simmons on his way to second, and he'll stand there to lead off the third.
Here's the thing about Andrelton. He's a middle infielder. And you think, well, you're not going to get a whole lot from a middle infielder, especially a shortstop these days. But he does two things really well, Dale. He handles the fastball. He can hit anybody's fastball. He's got quick hands, and he really kills mistakes. And I'm not so sure he misplayed that, Chip, as much as that ball was hit so hard he didn't have time to get back.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people talk about the switch to leadoff hitter for Andrelton. You know, his strikeout numbers are so low. And he struck out very few times in A-ball. And, you know, A-ball sometimes, you know, sometimes you don't know where the ball's going. And, so, you know, here in the big leagues, in one sense, I always hate to say it's easier to hit in the big leagues, but you know what I'm saying. Sometimes in the minor leagues, you got guys you don't know where it's going.
You don't get enough strikes.
You don't get enough strikes. You know, he can handle the bat. And at such a young age, he's got a great idea of the strike zone. One of the qualities of good hitters, Joe, as you know, is being that bat just stays in the zone a long time. Chipper is the first one that comes to mind from both sides of the plate. It just stayed there a long time. And Andrelton has, at first glance, it looks like a long swing, but it's in the zone for a long time.
Big cut for Jason. He missed it. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, your point about Simmons and strikeouts is really well made. Last year, 166 at-bats at the big leagues, 21 strikeouts. At Mississippi, 174 at-bats, only 20 strikeouts.
He wanted to steal right there, too. He's ready to go.
That walking lead.
Well, I read, Chip, you mentioned that so many people think he's the best shortstop in baseball. I read the other day that the ones that watch the game every day as much as they can, the scouts, you're hard-pressed to find a scout that doesn't say the same thing.
Off the plate, Hayward looked at that. 2 balls and a strike.
And they're watching everybody every day, the best in the business.
Yeah, we don't get to see everybody on a consistent basis other than the Braves shortstop. They're seeing them all. And when they give you that kind of glowing remark.
Off the end of the bat. Will it stay fair? It won't. And back to the plate will come Jason with a 2-2 count.
Here's an interesting at bat already with this count, with a runner in scoring position, first base open. But then you got the Braves have a right-handed hitter up next in Justin Upton. So does he go for the strikeout? Does he kind of pitch around Hayward trying to set up a force play? Be interesting to see what Hamels decides to do here.
Jason swung and missed.
Good fastball.
And that's the 4th strikeout for Hamels, first out of the inning.
Well located, down and in, couldn't get the barrel to it. But again, this guy struck out an average of 9.03 batters per 9 innings last year. That was 6th best in the National League. 216 strikeouts, 215 innings.
That's a tough pitch from Cole Hamels. It's the exact pitch he throws to right-handers, 2-seamer on that half of the plate. All good, has good downward movement.
Pickoff play on at second. Simmons back easily as Justin Upton hits for the 2nd time. Last year, Upton didn't have a typical Justin Upton year with Arizona. As Joe mentioned, he had thumb problems. Still hit 17 home runs, still scored 107 runs. Tough to hit with a bad thumb, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's hard to hit. It's hard enough to hit when you're not thinking about something else. I think Brian McCann went through a lot of that last year with his shoulder. Did you say he scored 107 runs last year? And not a typical excellent.
Talking about average and homers and RBIs, but still he was on base an awful lot.
And he played. He played in 150 games despite the thumb injury, so he was trying to play through it and put up decent numbers, just not by his standards, but largely because of his thumb.
Hamels straightened him up but missed. 2 balls and a strike. What a spot to hit, though, with Hayward in front of him, Freddie Freeman behind him. The way the lineup's set up tonight.
Well, we talked a little bit about at the beginning. It's been talked about all winter. This lineup has a chance of being very complementary of each other.
They're making Hamels work tonight. He's getting his strikeouts, but he hasn't exactly blown through anybody when he struck him out.
It's not like the so-called free swinging Atlanta Braves lineup has been all that wild and crazy getting behind in the count early on. They're making him work, like you said.
In the air to deep right. Mayberry's going back and just shy of the track. He'll haul it in. Andrelton will tag at second and move to third, and he'll stand there with 2 outs.
And with 2 out, time for our Georgia Lottery hitting the jackpot. Freddie Freeman drives in the first runs of the year with his 2-run shot into the Braves bullpen. And he's up there again.
Well, even though he has nothing to show for it, that swing from Justin Upton and that line drive to right field there, driving Mayberry all the way back to the track. Nice swing.
But isn't it funny, guys, how the game finds you? You mentioned Freddie's prowess last year with 2 outs and how many RBIs he had. Here he is again with a runner at third and 2 outs with the Braves already up 3-0. A base hit. A 3 RBI night for Freeman.
You saw the disparity in his average there against lefties last year. But again, I go back to the fact that he didn't like what he hit last year, that he's a better hitter than that, and he's a better hitter in his view against lefties. That looked like a cutter, maybe a slider that didn't break as much as Hamels wanted it to, and Freddie combed it into right field.
4-0 Atlanta for B.J. Upton. Right off his knuckles and straight back, 0-2. Got to know they're big butterflies for both Upton brothers tonight. First game, new team, new city.
But the beauty of this lineup, like Dale's been saying about complementing each other on any given night, it might be 3 guys or 4 guys one night and 3 different guys the next night.
Line drive left center field, but Revere is there, and that'll retire the side. Big night for Freddie Freeman. 3 2-out RBIs, and it's 4-0 behind Tim Hudson. That, of course, is Chris Medlin, and he will be a part of our Braves opening day celebration coverage. It continues after Game 1 of the season. Our latest edition of Driven has the unbelievable story of Chris Medlin's rise to the big leagues as told by Chris himself. So we invite you to stay tuned for the premiere of Driven, Chris Medlin, A Big League Journey, tonight at 11, right here on Fox Sports South.
Got some good sound on Chris before the game, too. Had him mic'd up during batting practice. He's one funny dude.
Chase Utley leads the Phillies fourth. And another ground ball. This one fouled at the bag. And the count now 1-2. All of Braves country has to have a great deal of respect for the kind of hitter and player that Chase Utley is. As I said earlier in the game, I think he personifies maybe the attitude of this Phillies ball club. They're older, they're wiser, they're very successful, and I think they have something to prove this year after an 81-win year last year.
First time they hadn't made the playoffs in 6 years. And again, they had to start the season without their number 3 and 4 hitters, too, for about the first 6 weeks of the year.
Charlie Manuel's club had 18 different players spend time on the disabled list, and they used 131 different lineups. And as we mentioned, they didn't trade Cliff Lee at the deadline. They got those guys back, and even after trading half of their outfield, they were 13 games over 500 in the second half.
Well, they've done some things to shore up their bullpen, too, to get to Jonathan Papelbon. They were 25 and 27, had a losing record in one-run games.
In the air to center, BJ going back, still going back, and that one's over the boards. A long home run for Chase Utley. And the Phillies are on the board. It's a 4-1 game.
That one fooled me.
Well, it didn't look like BJ thought it was going to get out of the ballpark, and I didn't think so either, especially a little wind that's not exactly helping. And he hit it so high.
High fastball from Tim, and this is a milestone homer for Chase Utley, his 200th in his career.
So the Braves lead is trimmed to 3 now with Ryan Howard coming up. Again, the Braves shift. And with good reason. This man absolutely kills the Braves at Turner Field. In 66 career games in this ballpark, Ryan Howard has hit 18 home runs and knocked in 64.
Tim was talking some more about Ryan Howard and basically saying, you know, I'm a low ball pitcher, I'm a sinker ball pitcher, but he's a low ball hitter. That's my strength to his strength. And the other thing is, he said, with my cutter that I usually can get in on left-handed hitters where they will at least offer at it, he's so far off the plate that if I throw it where I normally throw it, he takes it because it breaks too far inside for a ball.
Uggla dives, outfield grass, long throw, the stretch got him.
Might be the longest throw Dan Uggla ever has to make. Nice play. Took him just a split second to get the ball out of his glove, and another great stretch by his first baseman.
Achilles problems for Ryan Howard the last couple of years. Looked like, though, guys, he got down the line in good shape for the Phillies.
Looked like he was running okay. I saw a few clips from spring training. He still looked a little gimpy. That just may be the way it is the rest of his career with that Achilles tendon injury that he had. But he got down the line pretty good that time. Get a closer look of it here. Look at it here. I don't know.
Much better than what we saw at the end of last year.
So Hudson way ahead of Young, who walked in his first appearance tonight. And Tim got him to chase. 2 outs. Gerald Laird was sprinting to the dugout.
And he's hearing it from the dugout.
Uh-oh.
That will be some kangaroo court action
right there. That's the first thing I thought of. Well, he shouldn't feel bad. I remember coming off in the late 80s. We all came off the field.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. We all about got to the dugout.
How does that happen? I mean,
who knows?
Right?
I mean, that's the way we were playing then. I mean, we couldn't count to 3 then. That's why we weren't winning many games.
Meanwhile, Hudson has had impeccable command tonight.
Yeah, that's the first non-strike on a first pitch since the first pitch of the ball game.
Not bad for a guy who, with 2 starts left in spring training, described one of his outings as a train wreck. And he walked Dominic Brown on 4 pitches.
It's funny, Joe, you're talking about everybody running off the field. There's probably a couple of guys on the field that thought, no, that's only 2 outs, isn't it? Well, no, everybody's leaving. I must be wrong. I must be the guy.
It probably wasn't everybody, but I was one of them, so I think I probably added a few guys, but I think I was in right field. I think I got to the foul line. You know, you just put your head down, you start running, and then fans started yelling at us. It wasn't a pretty sight.
Hudson got Mayberry to hit into a double play to end the 2nd inning. And a first pitch strike.
You know, Chip, you talk about the Phillies having something to prove. They win 81 games last year with all those lineups and all those injuries. You know, a lack of respect is seemingly lack of respect is one of the most motivating things in athletics, and I think they're going to play that and think about that. Basically, no one's picked them to win the division. I mean, this is a heck of a ball club, and I think it's a very motivating thing for them to kind of fly under the radar. And the Nationals, everybody's picked them to win. It's a little bit different to be picked to win. And even though they got a great ball club, it'll be interesting to see how they go as the perceived front runner.
Washington did win their opener today behind Steven Strasburg, and yes, Bryce Harper had himself a pretty good day today.
Yeah, a couple of homers. The only runs of the game, 2-0. Nats over Nolasco and the Marlins.
Two quick strikes to John Mayberry.
Got a glimpse of Charlie Manuel over there, the manager for the Phillies. He's got a stopwatch in his hand, which kind of surprises me, but he's probably timing his sentences.
One ball, 2 strikes. Did he go? You bet he did. Hudson strikes out Mayberry. His 3rd strikeout of the ball game. He enjoys a 4-1 lead. Bottom part of the attack coming up for the Braves. It starts with Dan Ugler, who's already homered tonight. 4-1 Braves, bottom of the 4th inning. Cole Hamels still out there for the Phillies. Freeman and Ugler have homered tonight. Dan's was just a majestic, towering home run deep into the seats into left field. Toward 3rd, Young, backhanded stab and a perfect throw for the 1st out. Talked with some of the Phillies broadcasters about Michael Young as a 3rd baseman, and they said that day after day in spring training he worked with Ryne Sandberg. Before they would have their regular workouts, Young was out taking bucket after bucket of ground balls, totally soaked, drenched, learning the nuances of the hot corner for the Phillies. Made a good play to start the 4th. Chris Johnson's first hit of the year. Well, the Braves saw an awful lot of that this spring between Chris and Juan Francisco, didn't they?
They both hit for high averages. Johnson hit .361 with 3 homers. And when you combine his numbers last year between Houston and Arizona, this guy hit 15 homers. And I think what hadn't soaked in with me, he drove in 76 runs. So he's not just a guy that has hit for a high average in the past, but he can drive in a lot of runs too. And at the bottom of the order for Atlanta, he's going to get a lot of opportunities.
He's aboard with 1 out for Gerald Laird, who popped out his first time up. Would you say it's a strict platoon for Johnson and Francisco at third base?
That's all I've heard. I haven't heard anything different. I think Freddie plans on starting that way anyway. I think it looks like it could be a very productive position for the Braves offensively, which is kind of interesting because we're also worried about what was going to happen with Chipper gone. But boy, we've got some good production out in spring training, and the past has shown that these guys can hit. It's a tough position. My opinion is a tough position to platoon at. It's a tough position, but I think it'll work. It seems like outfield is a little bit easier to platoon. It's just because the nature of the defense out there isn't. You don't play for 3 or 4 days and all of a sudden you go to the outfield. But here, you don't play for 3 or 4 days, maybe 5, and all of a sudden you got to go down to the hot corner. That's tough.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Johnson in the lead from first. And fouled straight back.
I agree with you 100%, Dale, with this caveat, and that is if they run into a rash of lefties or a rash of right-handers in a row, I'm sure Freddie doesn't want one or the other guy to sit too long.
Good point.
A day or 2 is okay, but not 3 or 4. He wants to keep them both sharp, keep them fresh, because they did both really have good springs.
And the advantage for Johnson is that, unlike Francisco, if the Braves play a bunch of lefties or righties, however you want to do it, he can give Freddie Freeman a day off and put Chris at first base.
That's a good point, too. And I think that's the value, too, of playing in the National League. When one of them isn't starting, they're going to be on the bench, and the bench player in the National League is critical.
Toward third, Young stumbled, couldn't come up cleanly. Johnson's around second, on his way to third, and he'll stand there with 1 out. Laird's at second base.
Should be a double. Tough play for Michael Young. Got some leather on it, but he couldn't come up with it cleanly. It's hit sharply. Tim struck out his first time up. Really had a big cut at the ball on Hamels. But we've seen him in the past be able to put the ball in play even against very good pitchers like Hamels. Let's see how the Phillies play it.
Infield's in for Hudson. And Hamels missed inside just in case Hudson thought about a bunt.
And it was a double.
So Laird's first hit for extra bases. Second and third, 1 out. Braves up 4-1 in the fourth.
Braves lead is only 3 runs, guys, but they've had base runners on in every inning. And this is a completely different look to an Atlanta lineup for Cole Hamels, who's used to seeing as many as 4 lefties in the lineup that he could wear out.
One ball, 2 strikes. Freeman with a 2-run homer in that 22-pitch first. Freeman an RBI single in the Braves' third. Now Hudson tries to help himself. And stays alive. Well, that's the beauty of this lineup, Joe, to your point. Remember, it's one that doesn't have Brian McCann. When you put him in there, 1 through 8, you can go left, right, all the way up and down your starting 8.
And if you get Francisco in there against a right-hander, same thing.
Ground ball towards short, but no advance as Jimmy Rollins is there. Infield in, saved a run for the Phillies. 2 on, 2 out for Andrelton Simmons.
Fans, learn ways to make your home more energy efficient with Georgia Power's online energy checkup. It's free and takes less than 15 minutes to complete.
Simmons with a line drive double to left last time up. He scored the 4th Braves run. Let's see how carefully Hamels works to him.
Again, Andrelton, an excellent fastball hitter. You hang a breaking pitch or make a mistake off speed, he's going to hit that out of the ballpark. And Hamels started him with a great changeup.
Toward third. Young has it. And the toss across in plenty of time. And that retires the side. Braves strand a pair in the 4th. And as we head to the 5th, enjoy a 4-1 lead.
Good start for Atlanta offensively. It began in the 1st inning. Freddie Freeman off of Cole Hamels delivered a 2-out 2-run homer. Then Dan Uggla on a 3-0 count in the 2nd inning gave him another run. Freeman drove in a run also with a 2-out single. Chase Utley has accounted for the only run for the Phils.
And Tim has the 8, 9, and 1 hitters coming up for the Phillies now in the 5th. Eric Kratz, Cole Hamels, and Ben Revere. If you missed our commentary earlier, Kratz will be the main catcher for the Phillies until Carlos Ruiz comes back from a 25-game suspension. Missed outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
They also signed a veteran backup, Humberto Quintero, who will spell Kratz at least until Ruiz comes back. Adderall is used by some players from prescription, as prescribed by a doctor. That's allowed by Major League Baseball. But Ruiz tested positive for it, I think, twice, and it was not with prescription. And that's what got him in hot water.
So he's out for the first month or so of the season. And Joe, last year Ruiz was a huge part of the Phillies' offensive attack.
He had his best year. 325, 16 homers, and big damage against Atlanta.
Toward short. Simmons with a cannon gets Kratz. 1 out. Base is empty for Cole Hamels, and here we go, fellas. Trivia time. You ready? It's our AT&T Uverse trivia question.
Are you kidding? That's all I did all winter. Study.
So here we go. Since 2006, Cole Hamels and Tim Hudson are 2 of only 3 pitchers to record 90 or more National League wins. Who's the other pitcher to do that? How about Cole Hamels, a first pitch base hit to right?
National League wins over how many years?
Since 2006.
Okay, so that leaves out Roy Halladay because they've all got to come in the National League.
Right.
Or CC Sabathia. I don't think the answer is Russ Ortiz this time.
No. I'm thinking Kershaw. I'm thinking Lincecum. A couple of Cy Youngs for Lincecum.
How about that matchup today in L.A.? Kershaw and Matt Cain going at it.
How about Kershaw? Goes the distance, and the Dodgers beat the Giants. Kershaw also hit a home run. Have yourself a day. Keep an eye on Revere. Great speed, a lot of infield hits, a lot of bunt hits for the Twins last year. Tough guy to strike out. Braves play in front of Hamels at first. Led her high, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Tim's numbers last year against the Philadelphia Phillies, 3-1, pretty decent ERA against these guys. Only 1 double play in 29 innings in those 5 starts. And he's gotten 1 tonight. And that's unusual for a guy that gets so many ground balls, but might give you a little idea about how this Phillies team is not trying to hit the top half of the baseball.
Yeah, right.
They're trying to lift and separate.
Rolled foul by Revere, still a 1-2 count. Sixth career opening day start for Hudson, 3rd as a Brave. And Tim will be chasing down a major milestone here in the month of April. He's closing in on 200 big league wins. He needs 3 to do that. Amongst active pitchers, here's where Tim stands.
Halladay will be going for number 200 against the Braves on Wednesday.
Revere's wearing out both dugout nets, isn't it?
But that's the way he plays. He puts the ball in play, doesn't strike out a lot. They're hoping for a high on base percentage from him. As a result, they don't need him to hit home runs. Just get on base, swipe some bases, and score runs.
Well, the other thing for the Phillies, he adds a dimension of youth that club is really in need of, doesn't he? Ben just 24 years young on opening day. He'll be 25 in early May. And that's really maybe the biggest difference when you look at the Braves and Phillies clubs at the start of this 2013 season. One team awfully experienced, one team awfully inexperienced.
Yeah, the Phillies, I believe, the 3rd oldest average age of the roster, 3rd oldest, and the Braves the youngest in the major leagues. And that's with that spry right-hander on the mound tonight who's 37.
Now it's Revere's turn to make Tim Hudson work. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Trying to make too perfect a pitch, I think, since Revere had fouled off some good pitches. He was trying to do a backdoor breaking ball that missed badly, and that looked like a sinker that got away from him.
Full count. Hamels leads at first. And Revere slashes one down the left field line. Foul. This is a big out in this ball game. The Braves up only 3 runs, and you know who's lurking on that lineup card for the Phillies.
Not only that, we go back to the last half inning. That was some good work by Hamels to retire Hudson and Simmons with runners at 2nd and 3rd and 1 out. Kept him in the game too.
Rollins is next for the Phillies. Hamels runs this time, and the pitch is low to Revere, and the Phillies threaten now with 2 on and 1 out. 3rd walk of the game for Tim.
Tough guy to double up here, especially from the left side.
Great at bat for Revere, an 11 pitch sequence. He's at first, Hamels at 2nd, and Rollins the hitter. In the air to right field, that'll drop for a hit. Hamels will be stopped at third base as Hayward came up ready to throw. And now the Phillies are in business. They've loaded the bases with one out in the fifth inning. Rollins didn't hit it hard, but he guided that in the right field.
And he kind of floated that to right field, but third base coaches hate having to send their pitcher to the plate for fear of a close play, or they got a slide, might get hurt. And it looked like Jason came up ready to throw to third and not to home. Jason's lined up. You see how his body's lined up to throw to third base? He was ready to concede the run.
I think he was conceding the run, definitely.
And then all of a sudden he looks up, and Ryan Sandberg had held the pitcher at third base, which is not unusual with one of your key players in that situation.
So for the first time this year, the Braves bullpen goes to work. It's Corey Guerin and Luis Avilan. And now Chase Utley hits a milestone at bat for Utley last time up. A home run to dead center, the 200th in his career.
Oh, good pitch. Whew. Tailing action on a fastball to the outside corner to get ahead.
Can Tim get the ball on the ground off the bat of Utley? Missed the corner, even count.
Well, with a little cutter there, I don't think he'll have a problem getting a ground ball if he keeps throwing it like he did that first pitch.
Right.
That ball moved.
That was a pitch he kept trying to make on Revere and couldn't hit the spot. Looked like a pretty good pitch. Breaking ball. No, it's a changeup. I beg your pardon. But it was low.
90th pitch of the night coming from Hudson. And Utley rips it into right field. Hamels will score. Revere will score. The throw to third, not in time, and Utley's at second, and the Phillies have made it a one-run game. A 3 RBI night for Chase Utley. He's back, and the Phillies are back in the game.
There was a fastball, and he had it covered this time.
Yeah, he sure did. I don't think it quite moved like that first pitch, but you're right. He did have it covered. Good base running by Chase Utley here. I think the ball went a little bit over. I don't know who was supposed to be the cutoff man there. I think Andrelton. But Andrelton was covering second in case Jason threw it to second. Good base running by Utley by advancing on that throw.
Phillies have a big inning working, and they've chased Tim Hudson, who still leads 4-3 in the fifth. He leads the game by a 4-3 score, and he'll give way to Luis Avilan, who answers our first AT&T call to the bullpen.
Luis got called up in the middle of July last year and got off to a little bit of a rough start. He gave up some runs in his first couple of outings and then really buckled down. He gave up 4 earned runs in his first 4 outings and then gave up only 4 in his last 27 appearances to record that excellent ERA. And he'll have his work cut out for him here, although Ryan Howard only hit 176 against lefties last year.
Howard has runners at second and third with 1 out. And the Braves do again shift with Howard in the batter's box.
And here's our Home Depot tools from the dugout. Take a look at this graph. You see that most of the balls in play by Ryan Howard were to the right side of the diamond. That's why the shift, although with a left-handed pitcher and with a runner at third base, Ugla not in right field.
Tied him up again, 0-2.
Well, we talked about some movement from Tim Hudson earlier. Those balls right there from Avilan are going straight down.
And tying him up in, too.
Howard just did get a piece.
I like that pitch selection too from Gerald Laird. That a lot of times a big power hitter like Ryan Howard, you get him to swing and miss a couple of times. They start sitting on the slider, but 94 with another fastball here, and he was lucky to get a piece of it.
Don't you think, though, if you were Ryan Howard, you would at least work occasionally on a swing where you could hit a ground ball to shortstop in situations like this?
Yeah.
I mean, I know you got when they shift on you, you don't want to get out of your game and start thinking too much, but a ground ball to short is 2 runs. I wonder sometimes. Of course, he's not giving him any pitch that he could hit to shortstop right now, but
you don't want to pitch against your defense.
Yeah, but you would think, being a major league hitter, even though we know he's a power hitter and he's a pull hitter, obviously, that you would work occasionally on trying to inside out the ball and just hit it somewhere to the left side of the field.
Struck him out. What a pitch. Everything under the kneecaps and hands of Howard.
And at 94, I mean, that ball was running in on him. Great job.
That ball ends up, at least it looks almost like 2 feet off the plate, the way it's moving so much.
Now the Braves will take the bat out of the hands of Michael Young. They'll walk him intentionally and go after Dominic Brown. Braves like the lefty-lefty matchup. Let's see if it works out with 2 more wide ones. The Phillies' third baseman. Crazy inning for Philadelphia. A 1-out hit to Cole Hamels. Revere worked an 11-pitch walk. Rollins and Utley followed with singles. That ended the night for Tim Hudson. Now Avilan's come on, struck out Howard. He walks Young, and now Dominic Brown, the key man in the inning for the Phillies.
Dominic Brown coming home for the start of this season. He went to Redan High School out in Stone Mountain, and one of his new coaches, the assistant hitting coach, is Wally Joyner, who also went to Redan High School.
So no place to put Brown in a 1-run game.
Started him with a breaking ball, probably just to try to cross up any information Ryan Howard might have given Brown before he went up there.
Broken bat. Ugla's got it. Avilan gets out of the mess in the 5th. Not only did he get out of it, he went through Howard, Young, and Brown with the bases loaded for the Phillies. Braves maintain the lead. Bottom of the 5th. 4-3 now your score. With this standing room only crowd at Turner Field, they acknowledged that man, the skipper, Bobby Cox, here for the opener against the Phillies.
That was as loud as any of the starting players got tonight in their intros. Jason just showed bunt. I like that. He worked on that in spring training. Just something to keep the left side of the diamond honest, they don't overplay him too much.
Yeah, definitely. Good club to have in your bag once in a while. If he gets it down on the left side, it's a hit easy. If you're kind of struggling, or if you got to get something going, it's a good thing to have.
Off the end of the bat, but look how deep this ball goes to the warning track and right. And Mayberry takes care of Jason Hayward for the first out.
That's a good weapon leading off an inning too.
Exactly.
Well, we'll see what Hamels is made of in this 5th inning. He's got the 2, 3, 4 hitters up for the Braves. He's down a run, And he spent virtually the entire top half of this inning on the base paths. Cool night, comfortable night. Let's see if that has any effect as he faces Justin Upton. Justin's 0 for 2 tonight. Fouled at the plate and quickly 0-2.
When we were talking earlier tonight about the Phillies wanting to gain a measure of respect that they perhaps lost last year, and for teams to be talking only about Atlanta and Washington is a huge mistake, if for no other reason than about 5 guys on their ball club. Make it 6 guys. And that is Hamels, Halladay, and Lee for sure. And Howard and Utley and Rollins, and then Ruiz when they get him back, that would be another guy. Those are all quality veteran players. I grant you they're getting a little long in the tooth, some of them, but they know how to play and they are tough to put away.
High fly ball, right foot, left center, and deep, and gone by Upton. You called it, Joe.
New guys always seem to put on a show here some way, somehow. And that ball was blistered.
So the Braves get one of those Philly runs back. It's a 5-3 game.
He made a real good pitch with a cutter early in the count, and I think tried to come back with another one. It was, but it stayed out over the plate.
Yeah, you could see he wanted to throw that in off the plate. I love that swing.
Me too.
It's so simple. Not a lot of moving parts. As complicated as a swing can get, that looks so simplified.
Remember, Dale, how short the follow-through was on Mike Schmidt? How when he would swing, the bat really didn't go much farther around his body than maybe a third of the way. And Upton's finish reminds me of Mike Schmidt that way.
Yes, it does.
Freeman went fishing, and Hamels takes care of him for the second out of the inning.
Just watch the finish on this home run swing, and you'll understand what I'm talking about, and how it doesn't go all the way around. It gets stopped.
Right.
And man, is that powerful with the leverage he has with his hips and hands.
So Justin Upton on the board. Let's see if BJ can match him. He pops it up toward third, and Young in foul ground puts the squeeze on that. The Braves have hit 3 home runs on opening night. Freeman, Ugla, and now Justin Upton. And the Braves extend their lead now to 5-3 heading to the 6th. A little more breathing room for the Braves after 5-3 the score now, with the bottom part of the Phillies order coming up. Hamels is due third. We'll see if Charlie Manuel lets him stick around or if he goes to his bench. Rough night for John Mayberry at the plate. He's hit to a double play and he's struck out. Bounding ball fouled past third, evens the count, a ball and a strike.
Avilan last year made 31 appearances for the Braves. 9 of those he went 2+ innings, 2 or more innings. So this is not a stretch for him, even here in the first game of the season, to work an inning plus. Fly ball center. BJ going back, has plenty of room and has it
for the first out. Special night for us, special night for the Braves, special night for the Braves fans in the ballpark. And for more on that, let's join our colleague Elizabeth Moreau.
Chip, thank you. I am joined by Scott and Matthew Rissmiller, who've been coming 8 straight opening days. Scott, tell me about the tradition and what it means to your family.
It started with my oldest son, who's 20, and obviously he's at college, so he kind of had to back out of the tradition. But when Matthew got old enough, we just started coming every year. We come probably 10, 12 nights a year, but opening night's always special.
All right, Matthew, what's your favorite part about coming down here?
The food, the tomahawk chopping, and watching them play.
What do you think about those 3 home runs?
It was awesome.
Oh, I love that, guys. I've been sitting out here for about 2 innings. It is absolutely beautiful. A perfect night. Chip?
Thank you, Elizabeth. And it has been a perfect night. Braves are hitting home runs. They're beating Cole Hamels. They're winning the opener to this point. As Luis Avilan trying to work his first full inning. And guys, goes without saying that with the injury to Johnny Venters, Avilan's role in the bullpen takes on added importance now in the first weeks of the season.
Yeah, our understanding is that Johnny was examined today, but no results released yet from Dr. Andrews on Johnny's ailing elbow. Let's hope it's nothing serious, maybe some tendonitis, but we don't know at this point. So you're right, Avilan, a big part of the bullpen at this moment.
He and Eric O'Flaherty, the lefties, in relief for the Braves tonight. As Eric Kratz, the Philly catcher, hits with the bases empty.
And in this division, left-handed relievers are essential, and more than one.
Think about this Phillies ball club. You think about the Nationals and the left-handed pop they have. Popped up. Long run, Jason Hayward near the line. Plenty of room. He has that. 2 outs. Braves 5-game packs are a great way to catch the Braves in action all year long. Select 5 games of your choosing and enjoy savings of up to $4 off the gate price on each ticket. Get a 5-game plan today by going to Braves.com/5game or calling 404-577-9100. And it is, fellas, the end of the line for Cole Hamels. Looks like Kevin Franzen's grabbed a bat.
Last year, Cole Hamels gave up 3 home runs in a game only once, and that was in July to the San Francisco Giants.
And Franzen with a looping line drive into center. It bounces over to Jason Hayward, and he's got a pinch hit single, and now bring Ben Revere to the plate. So 5 innings for Hamels, 5 runs. 3 of them homers. Revere's been a pest tonight. A single, a stolen base, and that big 11-pitch walk that turned into a Philadelphia run back in the 5th inning.
Yeah, very impressive at bat. Last at bat against Tim Hudson.
Yeah, I think it was key at bat of the rally.
Absolutely.
Broken bat roller out to Simmons. He'll flip to Uggla. And Avilan continues his sparkling work out of the Braves bullpen tonight. Bottom of the 6th. 5-3 Braves lead it. Shining moment. Look at the opening day success of Rick Mahler.
Taken from us too soon, that's for sure. But how about that? 3 complete game shutouts out of those 4 opening day starts. Murph, you were there for him.
Yeah, Rick had some magic going on opening day. Sure miss him.
A little help there from Bob Horner, who was playing at first base. But what a start to his seasons, those 4 years.
Which leads to our Academy Sports and Outdoor Leaderboard. Who has made the most opening day starts in Atlanta Braves history?
If you'd asked me who was 3rd, I know I would have missed that.
Apropos that we see the name of Phil Niekro on top of that list. It's Nuxie's birthday today.
April Fools.
Good. 74 years young for Phil Niekro, who had the honor of grabbing the microphone on the field and saying, "Play ball."
That was great.
On the mound for the Phillies, former Brave Chad Durbin. Boy, did Chad have a good run for the Braves last season. The Phillies looking for a lot of bullpen help to get the ball to Jonathan Papelbon. Brought Durbin back into the fold. And he missed Dan Ugla with a breaking ball. On the count, 2 balls and a strike.
Chad pitched a lot for the Braves last year and did a good job. Got the call a lot. 76, that's a lot. Good sinker, good slider.
Full count now to Dan Ugla. Charlie Manuel's ball club had all kinds of bullpen troubles late last year. Jonathan Papelbon was real solid as the closer. As Durbin issues a leadoff walk, trailing by 2 runs. Durbin and Mike Adams were 2 big additions to this Philadelphia relief corps.
If Mike Adams kind of gets back to his level of consistency that he had with the Padres, that's really going to be a great sign along with Durbin, because Durbin can pitch so much, as we just showed you. But 2 excellent pickups as potential setup men for Papelbon.
So Ugla's at first base for Chris Johnson. Chris has singled and has struck out tonight. And it's a rocket into the left field corner. That's going to rattle around for a while. Look at Ugla fly around second. He's on his way to third and will be stopped there. Johnson doubles, and the Braves are in business. Second and third, nobody out.
Tell you, this guy can hit, folks.
Yeah, another good swing put on the ball by Chris Johnson. Short, quick, ball inside.
Dan Ugla, one of the better base runners on the team in terms of cutting corners, and he was thinking about scoring until, in fact, Brian Snitker had to start waving his hands to get his attention, so he was going to throw out the anchor.
Infield in for the Phillies with Gerald Laird up. And he hits a little flare into shallow left center field. That's going to drop for an RBI hit. Ball dropped. Johnson around third, scrambles back safely. It's 6-3.
A thing of beauty here. Fastball again up from Durbin. He actually kind of got away with that, but the fact it ran in on Laird, thing of beauty just to drop it in between the outfielders. And even though Brown bobbled it out there, Johnson not able to score.
So Charlie Manuel's on his way to the mound. Chad Durbin's season begins in rocky fashion. A walk, a double, and a bloop single has the Braves in business. 1 in, 2 on, and nobody out. Turner Field is rocking and rolling. The Braves offense as good as advertised on opening night. 6 runs on 9 hits. And Freddie Freeman's chopping 2. He's had a big night. 3 RBIs, including a 2-run first inning homer. Braves will now take a look at the third Phillies pitcher of the night as left-hander Jeremy Horst takes over for Chad Durbin.
Fastball, slider, changeup for Horst. Fastball in the low 90s. He's one of 3 lefties in their bullpen. tell you another guy that they signed that we haven't mentioned was John Lannon, who was not re-signed by the Nationals. And if you recall, John Lannon has been awfully tough on the Braves in the past.
So Juan Francisco was in the on-deck circle. He was called back, and Reed Johnson will now grab a bat and pinch hit. Don't know if Juan was announced or not. But Reed, who led the majors in pinch hits last year, a chance to swing the bat with runners at the corners and nobody out. And here they got hit.
Well, he led in pinch hits, but not enough of those came with Atlanta to offset the fact that the Braves were last in the league in pinch hits last year. They had 35 pinch hits, and that was 16th out of 16 teams.
High from Horst. Made his big league debut on June 28th last year, and he was a strikeout machine. He punched out 40 hitters in 31 and a third innings last year.
Charlie Manuel talking about both clubs before the game, but talking about how much he liked the Braves team. And he said, and the thing about the Braves, the way he was saying it was that the thing he liked the best is the Braves bullpen. He said, because if the Braves have a 3-run lead in the 6th inning, they pretty much close you out. So that's one thing he didn't want to have happen.
Bouncing ball off the pitcher's glove. Rollins will flip to Utley. Quick turn. The double play is good, but scoring is Johnson with 2 outs.
That was some real good base running by Chris. You don't want to just run into an out at home plate there with first and third nobody out, but he waited till he saw Utley trying to turn the double play and took off. Well done. Made up his mind after Utley made the relay and got there in time. He was going to score even with a good throw.
Braves putting it all together offensively so far tonight. That's their 7th run. And here's Simmons. He swings the first pitch and pops it up on the infield. Ryan Howard, even with the bag, puts the squeeze on that. Atlanta adds 2 more runs off former Brave Chad Durbin. This game heads to the 7th. League in home runs this spring. They're off to a flying start on our game summary tonight as well.
Yeah, from the middle of the order. First, the cleanup hitter hits a 2-run shot in the first inning. First 2 of 3 RBIs for Freeman tonight. Then the number 6 hitter goes deep in the 2nd inning on a 3-0 count. And then the 5 hitter, Justin Upton just laced one off of Hamels. And that was in the 5th.
So Eric O'Flaherty makes his season debut and answers the AT&T call to the bullpen. Chance to turn Jimmy Rollins around, make him hit right-handed. Then the left-handed bats of Utley and Howard to follow. And he gets the first man with no trouble. Good start for Eric. 2 pitches, 1 out, and another spectacular 2012 season for O'Flaherty.
Just great numbers. Got up to a little bit of his spring was slow to start because of a leg issue, but he got that remedied and ready to go to start the season. But how about the work of Luis Avilan tonight too, when the game was on the line, getting Howard and then striking out or getting the ground ball from Brown on a broken bat. That was excellent work.
And a chance to pick up the win for Luis in relief tonight. Hudson didn't go the requisite 5 as the starter this evening. And Chase Utley is back with a bang. That's his 3rd hit tonight. And he's motoring around the base, running free and easy and thinking about 3. Utley's throw toward 3rd is going to be an eyelash late. Utley's homered, singled, and now tripled in 4 trips.
Well, he sure looked really healthy there. I mean, talk about a guy that's coming back from some injuries. No hesitation. Still down 4 runs. No hesitation, going for 3. Looks really good running there. Swinging the bat well, too. Legs must be really feeling good.
And he's got that short finish on his swing,
He's
too.
got the shortest way. It's even shorter than Justin's.
Yeah.
That's one of the shortest I've ever seen in the game.
Well, Ryan Howard had one of the key at-bats in this game. That was his last turn, and Avilan struck him out with some nasty heat under the hands of the inside part of the plate. Ryan is 0 for 3, as you see tonight. He's got Utley at third. The Phillies are down 4 runs.
And a deeper shift put on this time with a little more room to work than the last time he was up there in terms of the score. So they're willing to concede the run to get an out.
That didn't feel good. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Dale, I'm with you on Chase Utley. I mean, when you watch the Atlanta Braves play every night, you certainly have a penchant to enjoy watching them play and appreciate all they do. But among opponents that you see on a semi-regular basis, I mean, he's one of my favorite players to watch. I love to watch him hit.
Boy, the Braves try to keep the ball on Ryan Howard's hands.
Got to try and keep him from extending his arms, and it looks like O'Flaherty's done a good job of that in his career.
Well, to chase Utley again, Joe, just one of the best competitors in the game. Never gives an at bat up. You know, from the very first. I thought that was, speaking about giving away at bats, I thought it was interesting. Joey Votto I read an article about him, how he was frustrated with himself giving away at bats at first of the game, so he's changed his approach. But Chase Utley is a guy that never gives away those at bats.
Howard rolls toward Freeman at first. The Braves will concede the run. That's Howard's first RBI of the year, scoring Chase Utley. And with 2 outs, that makes it a 7-4 game here in the 7th.
Terrific hitters are like that. And I remember an old teammate of mine, George Brett, even in spring training, he hated making bad decisions at the plate or chasing bad pitches and making outs even in spring training. He was so competitive that way. He didn't even want to give an inch in spring training.
Little tapper by Young. Johnson's got that. Perfect throw to first. Eric O'Flaherty is through the 7th inning, and we stretch for the first time in Atlanta. The heart of the order coming up in the bottom of the inning. Hayward, Justin Upton, and Freddie Freeman. Braves up 3 runs. He didn't cry. Come on. You know Chris Medlin maybe shed a tear or two when he got back in the starting rotation. We'll see more of Chris Medlin right after our ball game. Our latest edition of Driven has the unique story of Chris Medlin's rise to the big leagues, told by Medlin himself. We invite you to stay tuned for the premiere of Driven, Chris Medlin, a big league journey, tonight at 11, right here on Fox Sports South. And here's a little sneak preview of what you might expect from Chris. He was mic'd up during batting practice tonight.
Aguas Latinos? Aguas Latinos? I just gotta carry all these around.
I'll take one, bro.
Need a water? Why is everyone so hydrated right now? You dudes need a water? I got plenty. Yes! Let's start passing them out to fans. Stay hydrated.
He said at the beginning of the year that was one of his goals, was to make sure everyone was hydrated.
Even the retired players at the ballpark tonight took his advice, it appears.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, they sure did.
What a great night, though. Standing room crowd. Braves have hit 3 home runs. Bullpen has pitched very good ball tonight. Braves have run the bases well. They've played very well defensively. In this season, this offseason, which was filled with so much excitement for Braves country, what with last year's retirement of Chipper Jones, the new faces, the Uptons, Chris Johnson and Juan Francisco at third base, the imminent return of Brian McCann. to see this team play the way that it's playing, I'm sure for everybody in Braves country, is awfully exciting to think about the next 161 ball games.
Well, if you come to the ball game and you don't get one of these official Braves programs, you're missing out, because it's got some in-depth stuff on all the players, not to mention some beautiful color pictures of everybody. But it's like a heavy-duty, thick magazine instead of just a program. A lot of good stuff with the outfielders on the cover, saying an outfield revamped. Good stuff. Braves program.
The Big Three, Part 2. It used to be Smoltz, Glavine, and Maddox. The Big Three. It's the Big Three, Part 2.
Well, here's one of those Big Three. Jason Hayward, the Braves right fielder, walked in his first plate appearance tonight, or his first at bat, I should say. That was in the opening inning, and scored on Freddie Freeman's 2-run homer. He's also struck out and flied out tonight. And it's a mammoth pop-up toward Chase Utley at second base. Utley staggers for a moment, but puts it away for out number 1. Justin Upton is on the board. It happened in his last at bat.
Yeah, I had my spots in the batting order a little mixed up earlier when I had him mixed in there with Freddie and Uggla, but he's obviously the number 3 hitter in the lineup. And how about that greeting, first of many, from his brother in the on-deck circle?
That's the other thing we haven't even talked about tonight. New team, new fan base, all that. But to get to play on a major league team with your brother. And not only on a major league team, but a major league team that has serious postseason aspirations this year.
We talked about this a little bit early in spring training, Chip, and I think you probably saw it too, Dale, that there wasn't a real swagger about the team early on, but there was already an air of confidence about them, about what they knew they were capable of doing.
Yeah, I think so, and I think, just with some of the changes, getting to know each other, becoming familiar with how everybody goes about their work in spring training, and it seemed it started turning it up a notch, and tonight is a great start.
1 ball, 2 strikes. And Upton is called out on strikes. We caught up with Justin, asked him indeed what it's like to play in the major leagues with his brother, B.J. Upton.
Our biggest goal, everything's, seeing the family and having them close and them getting to enjoy it is cool and all, but I think more than anything, it'd be fun to win a title, alongside my brother.
I can only imagine how much fun that's going to be.
Freddie Freeman, little pop into shallow left field. That's going to drop. That ball seemed to hang up in the air forever. Jimmy Rollins went out, but didn't go very far. And Dominic Brown didn't look like much of a jump on that pop-up at all. And Freeman's got his 3rd hit tonight.
Well, not really sure what happened. I know as a pitcher, I'd be a little frustrated that ball wasn't caught. I didn't really see if they got a good jump on the ball or not, but that ball would seem like was up there enough. Someone should have had a shot at it.
So we've seen Justin Upton in the 7th inning. Now it's B.J. Upton's turn. And for more on the Upton story, let's check in again with Tom.
Chip, of course, it's not uncommon for a batter that just finished an at-bat to check with the guy on deck to try and see what he's seeing from the pitcher. But that's exactly what B.J. did, stopping Justin on his way back to the dugout. And you have to wonder, 2 guys who know each other so very well, not only know what they just saw, but you got to know what your brother's looking for. So you wonder if that'll be an advantage for the Braves throughout the season, if not this at bat.
Just missed the inside corner. 1 ball, 2 strikes. B.J. looking for his first base hit is 0 for 3. And Horst struck him out. Couple of strikeouts for Horst in his 2 innings of relief. And on we go to the 8th in Atlanta. To the 8th we go. 7-4. The Braves have the lead, and another new face will debut for Atlanta tonight. Our next AT&T call to the bullpen is answered by former Angels reliever Jordan Walden.
Braves got him from the Angels for Tommy Hanson. Check out that bottom line. When he was an All-Star in 2011, an average velocity of 97 plus. He can light up the radar gun.
He just did.
And he's got a little hitch in his giddy up that can throw the timing of hitters off a little bit, as if his fastball wasn't enough.
Dominic Brown will face him first. We were told about Walden this winter, Joe, that when he actually delivers the baseball, it seems almost impossible, but he's in the air.
Right.
With that hitch.
Right. And I've seen some video of that, and it's accurate. And he can walk some people too. I mean, he's got some control issues that plague him at times. In this spring, he was bothered by a bad back early in camp. He actually had to have an injection in his lower back, but has bounced back from that and pitched real well at the end of camp.
Brown got jammed, drives the ball toward right center. B.J. Upton's got it. 1 out. All right, trivia time. Let's see if we can start the season in perfect fashion. Our AT&T U-verse trivia question. Remember back a few innings since 2006, Cole Hamels and Tim Hudson are 2 of only 3 pitchers with 90 or more wins in the National League. Who's the other to do that?
Can we come back?
Sure.
Because I'd forgotten we were studying on that.
Now we could ask for hints, but that would be against the rules, as we know. Is the pitcher still active?
I got a guy.
You got a guy?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we don't have to.
I have a guy, but
you don't want to go. You want to do this now, or you want to?
It's not going to help me waiting any longer.
It's getting late.
Okay.
I'm going Matt Cain.
Cain.
Good call. I'm going Josh Johnson.
Josh Johnson with the Marlins. I'm going to go Tim Lincecum.
Well, we're perfect so far.
I don't think we even got the division.
No.
We're over.
Yeah. Well, there's an old French saying, guys. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
It's funny. I was just thinking about all my study sheets all winter. Bronson Arroyo wasn't on one of them.
Huh. Might have to write that name down and that trivia question down, because we'll probably see it again. Toward third, and a fair ball. Mayberry doubles with 1 out. Perfectly placed.
If you're playing third base and Jordan Walden's pitching, especially if you got a nice lead, there's no expectation that anybody's going to pull the ball over the bag on you. And that was just a chopper. But for Mayberry, good for him that he was able to turn on one from Walden as hard as he's throwing.
I think this trade for Jordan Walden is kind of one of those things that has kind of gone under the radar a little bit, actually. I think with getting the Upton brothers here, everybody's been talking about that, but this is a real key position for the Braves to get to Craig Kimbrell.
That one well off the plate. A wild pitch will chase Mayberry to third. Well, as Joe said, Walden will walk people. Last year with the Angels, 39 innings, 48 strikeouts. That's the good news. Bad news is 18 walks and 35 hits in those 39 innings.
Well, some of that, I'm going to say, was because he was having to probably pitch in some bad counts, maybe some 2-0, 3-1 counts. But if he makes that pitch consistently, you can forget about hits. 96 at the knees with some sink.
Line drive into right center by Kratz. That man's at it again against the Braves. That will score Mayberry. And all of a sudden, the Phillies have made it a 2-run game. 7-5 your score in the 8th inning. And Lance Nix will hit for Horst. And again, the Phillies are going to turn their lineup over here in the 8th inning. You may have to worry about the big boys in the 9th.
Well, another thing about Walden, I mean, he's a strikeout pitcher. He's not a ground ball pitcher. Certainly like to get one here.
Laird can't find it. And by the time he does, Kratz takes second base. That takes away a chance for the double play. Another wild pitch.
Gerald did everything he could to try to shift over in front of it, but couldn't keep it in front of him.
Well, there's one thing as a catcher blocking a breaking ball, you got a little time to adjust, so to speak, and blocking a low fastball, probably one of the toughest things a catcher can do.
2 balls, no strikes. It appears this is Walden's inning. There's nobody up and throwing, at least for the moment, although they're starting to stir now. Corey Guerin looks like he'll begin to loosen again. He was up in the 5th inning tonight. Two balls and a strike. Guerin sits down and Christian Martinez loosens. Next chased a high fastball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And he's thinking about one thing right here if he can get it, right? He's thinking about tying this game in the 8th.
And as hard as Walden throws, and I know you don't practice throwing a high fastball all that much, but might be a good time for it to see if he'll chase one up the ladder a little bit.
Two and two. Still alive. Pretty nasty to go from 96 to 86 on successive pitches.
Nix did a good job, Chip, of just getting something, getting a piece of that ball. You're right, because it was a great location. Not only was the different in velocity, but good location.
Fly ball to left. Justin's under it. And he handles cleanly for the second out of the inning. So runner at second, 2 outs. And Delta Airlines, a proud sponsor of your Atlanta Braves.
See part of some of the changes here at the ballpark tonight, like the different colors for the scoreboard for the different leagues. They've moved the retired numbers along the club level and put names next to your numbers.
I saw that,
Mr. Murphy.
Very nice.
Now, are you happy with the placement, by the way? Any complaints about where your number ended up?
Well, give me a couple days to get used to it. No, I like it over there. Is there a problem? You got a problem with that, Chip?
No, I mean, it's your name and number.
No.
I mean, pretty good company, though. You're right next to Nuxie.
I like it. I'm very happy.
Down
Very
from Hank
thankful.
Aaron.
Very thankful.
Oh, they look nice.
No, they do. Very nice.
Braves also did hang a playoff flag for their wild card appearance last year. That's on the facade out in left center field. As Ben Revere hits. Gaddis had a good cut, fouled it straight back. 2 balls and a strike.
It's a long way out there to those flags, and they say Evan Gaddis has already hit one off the flags.
Yeah. The one they were talking about, though, is one Juan Francisco hit yesterday in batting practice in the second deck in right field out by the Braves bullpen.
Yes, I heard about that one, too.
96 on the corner, 2-2.
It's almost like he's just getting a feel for the baseball last couple of hitters.
Struck him out. The Phillies score 1, but they're running out of time. It's a 2-run Braves lead, last of the 8th. For the second game of this series, and here are your Chevron probable starters.
Paul Maholm, an innings-eating machine for the Braves, gets his first start of the new season against the veteran Paul Maholm. I love this new pitch he started using in spring training. You'll see it in a second. The big slow curveball was a beauty. And had a nice shutout string working at the end of camp too.
There's that curveball again. That put me in a slump for about 3 or 4 days after seeing one of those. Wow.
So Maholm versus the much discussed Roy Halladay on Wednesday. And here in the Atlanta 8th, Dan Uggla, Chris Johnson, and Gerald Laird are scheduled against Philippe Aumont, the king-sized right-handed relief pitcher for the Phillies.
He's another flamethrower. 96 to 98 with his fastball on a normal basis. He's got a curveball, but doesn't throw it much. And there it is, and you can see why.
I'd have to say this is one of the biggest differences since I've been out of the game, Joe, and you've probably seen this, that every guy coming out of the pen is 95 plus. It seems like for every team. And they all seem like they're 6'6" at least as well, too.
Once bigger than that, 6'7", 260 pounds, out of Quebec. He came from the Mariners with Tyson Gillies and J.C. Ramirez in the deal for Cliff Lee. And he just struck out Dan Uggla, who homered his first time up tonight. 1 up, 1 down in the Braves 8th. All year long, Braves baseball on Fox Sports South is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price, every day. Joe Murph and Chip with you from Turner Field. Opening night, Braves enjoy a 2-run lead at 7-5 your score.
Braves have struck out 8 times tonight. They have 10 hits, 3 of them long ones. I don't think this is a whole lot unlike what we can expect to see most of the season.
The other thing I hope we see a lot of are sellout crowds. Gigantic attendance tonight, 51,456. The paid gate. To Chris Johnson. This has had a good night at the plate. He's singled, he's doubled, he's scored. You hate to use the term throw-in in a deal, but when the Braves made the deal with Arizona for Justin Upton, they had to include Martin Prado in that transaction. That meant Johnson really had no place to play. So the Braves are very happy to take him back. And he's had a good debut tonight.
Yes, he has.
He's a good player. I'm not sure if he fell out of favor with Kirk Gibson or if it was just a numbers situation over there where there wasn't going to be a place for him. But the Braves are happy to have him. And knowing that that was a spot that they needed to fill, the Braves were happy to get him included in the return on that deal.
A 2-hit night for catcher Gerald Laird, including an RBI single his last time up. And a 1 drops in a slider, strike 1. Gerald's been around a while. His first major league action came in 2003 with Texas. He's played with the Tigers, the Cardinals, back to Detroit last year, and now with Atlanta. Michael Young kicks it, kept it in front. Low throw, and the scoop by Howard at first. A good play, 2 outs. Johnson's at second, and the Braves go to the bench again. This will be Ramiro Pena. Quite a battle for this job in the final days of spring training too. Blake DeWitt, Ramiro Pena, and Tyler Pasternicki all competing for a backup infield job.
And it was like the third base job. It's not like anybody really lost the job. They all played well. Tyler Pasternicki had a terrific offensive spring.
But it's Pena who earns the bench job. And he takes a little low. 1 ball, no strikes. Nice to get another run home here with a 7-5 score and the heart of the Phillies order due up in the 9th. Three of the first 4 Braves runs came with 2 outs this evening. And a hot shot to Howard. And Ryan will take it to the bag. And that will retire the side. So to the 9th we go. The veterans for the Phillies are coming up. Jimmy Rollins, Chase Utley, and Ryan Howard. And Craig Kimbrell will try to close it out. Three more outs to get, and who better? As you see our scores, 7-5 Atlanta heading to the top of the 9th inning. And it is indeed Craig Kimbrell coming off an historic 2012 season, trying to finish this one off against the Phillies.
Fifth in the Cy Young voting after the terrific season he had, a 1.01 ERA. Only gave up 7 runs all year. But he did not have a particularly good spring.
And he's fallen behind Rollins. 2 balls, no strikes. Put in perspective, last year Kimbrell recorded 188 outs. 116 of them were strikeouts. That's nearly 17 per 9 innings pitched. And from the frying pan to the fire, very little margin for error with a 2-run lead. Rollins, Utley, and Howard coming up in the Philadelphia 9th.
A certain test in his first outing of the year.
Belt high, called strike 2. Rollins didn't like it.
He thought it was high. Not according to Fox Tracks.
Devastating slider retires Rollins. 1 out.
Well, he's got some ridiculous numbers, and his numbers against left-handers are just unbelievable. Looked like he shook Gerald Laird off to get to that breaking ball. Perfect location. You've got to start your swing early enough to catch up to the fastball, and then he throws that to you.
Rollins now 1 for 7 with 5 strikeouts against him.
Here's Utley, a huge night for the Phillies second baseman, 3 for 4. He's homered and knocked in 3 and scored 2. Needs a double to hit for the cycle, by the way, tonight.
The thing we have talked about since Kimbrel came to the big leagues is that how every hitter, left or right-handed, has got to be ready for his fastball, and that's what makes that breaking ball so awesome, because you have to start your swing early.
I'll be interested to talk to Gerald Laird, too. He caught Justin Verlander. How does Kimbrel's stuff compare to Verlander's for the Tigers? Was Verlander a starting pitcher? Kimbrel, the Braves' closer. But both big arms and both big breaking balls. Everybody standing at Turner Field as Utley faces a 2-1 count.
And then when you are geared up for the fastball and you get one, and you see that one so well, shoulder high, it's just impossible to catch up to.
So pick your poison. Do you go with the slider or do you go with that high fastball again?
High fastball.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Utley popped up a 98-mile-an-hour heater. Simmons at short. He's got that. 2 out.
And the problem for a hitter is he throws that one upstairs at 97, and then he throws one down at your knees. You think you got a shot, and it's 98.
Yeah, it changes your eye level, trying to track the pitch. And even Chase Utley, as good a fastball hitter as he is, late on it. And the great thing is that he's gotten the first 2 guys ahead of Howard. He just can go right after him.
Again, Atlanta shifts. Howard 0 for 4, but with an RBI. And he's late. Strike 1.
That ball's out of the zone, but it's 80. Was it 84 miles an hour? Did I see that right? I mean,
yeah.
14 miles an hour difference. Really messes up your timing sometimes, even if it's not in the zone.
Two balls, 1 strike.
There are times when you have to start your swing, gearing up for your swing so early. You just hope he's throwing it where you're swinging.
You're exactly right. That's sometimes I agree with you, Joe. I think you just gear up, hope that he makes a mistake, and hope it's in your swing path.
Yeah.
But that's the problem. Is his mistake is he's got such good velocity.
The 2-2 pitch to Howard. High fly ball toward Upton and left. Plenty of room, and the Braves have won their opener. 7-5 your final score as Craig Kimbrel nails down his first save of 2013. The Braves offense tonight as good as advertised. They banged 3 home runs. They chased Cole Hamels and did an awful lot of damage in the game's first 3 innings. So the Braves 1-0. They beat the Phillies 7-5. Your final. We'll recap it for you when we come back to Turner Field after this.